We are going to be bringing everybody home from Crew 2 today, so super exciting.
That's right, and it's going to be an exciting journey. We have, of course, the undocking, and it's about 8.5 hours until they come home. About an hour and a half of that is dedicated to something called a fly-around. This is a new capability for Endeavour that was actually, we talked about during the launch, but really what's going to happen is Endeavour is going to undock from the space-facing side of the Harmony module, and it'll back out to waypoint 1, which is about 220 meters away. It'll hold there for about a minute, just make sure everything is lined up. They will back up, here's a fantastic graphic, back up to about the keep out sphere, which is about 180 to 220. It's going to keep within that 40 or so meter range, and it'll essentially fly around the International Space Station, going to the from the zenith or the top facing to the aft or the back, and then just make one complete loop from 12 o'clock to 12 o'clock around the International Space Station. The whole time, the Dragon's nose cone will be open, and they have a window at the very front. Well, the crew will be taking pictures right out the window. They'll make a full loop. That'll take about an hour and a half before they do 2 departure burns that will send them outside the keep out sphere and the approach ellipsoid and begin the journey home.
We have a live view inside Crew Dragon. We can see them. You can see, I love this view because you can actually see what they're seeing on their display screens.
Yeah.
Obviously a map of the world there showing position location, and we can, on the either side is also an indicator showing where the Crew Dragon thrusters will actually be firing from once those are actually happening.
Hatch is closed, PPRV ISO valve is open.
Awesome.
SpaceX copies. Hatch closed and PPRV ISO valve is in the expected position.
Endeavour copies. Go for undock at 1900 Zulu. Visors are down.
Copy all. Thank you, Megan.
That was confirmed physical separation at 1:05 p.m. Central Time as the station was flying 259 statute miles off the coast of Chile. 2 good undocking burns and a nominal impulsive retreat burn. Next will be a brief hold at waypoint 1 before the fly-around sequence is executed. We'll be monitoring Crew Dragon throughout the departure sequence as it makes its way from the International Space Station. Godspeed to Shane, Megan, Aki, and Tomas.
Dragon is navigating on Dragon Eye 2. We will time out of impulsive retreat 1 point and into go to 1.
Endeavour copies.
Dragon SpaceX, we see the onboard warnings for Dragon Eye 1. No correction is required. Dragon is navigating on Dragon Eye 2.
The crew inside have gotten the go to start doffing their suits, now past the dynamic phase of undocking where the suits are required. So they'll start doffing as they head out to waypoint 1, which is about another 100 meters away as they slowly make their way out. They're going to waypoint 1, which is about 200 meters away, right at the edge of the keep out sphere. And they'll hold for about a minute before starting the fly around maneuver. Starting at this very top or zenith position towards the space-facing side. See them backing up. They're about at this position, actually right now, about halfway. Then they'll execute a 50-second fly-around burn 1. This will take them from the zenith or the space-facing side to the aft or the back of the station and cruise for a bit until they hit the aft portion. It's expected that during this part of the flight will be in an orbital nighttime. So right about these 2 burns, fly around burns 1 and burn 2, we should be getting some views of the International Space Station, maybe even of the Dragon, but they will be a little bit on the darker side. Then, of course, the next 2 burns, burn 3 and burn 4, will be in the daylight, and the whole maneuver itself will take about an hour and a half. You can see the position of the Dragon, the very top portion portion of the Dragon with the nose cone face down towards the International Space Station at all times. This allows for the crew inside with a perfect window view looking down at the International Space Station to take digital photographs the entire way around. We're getting to about 180 to somewhere between 180 to 220 until we get to that waypoint 1 hold point. We will not stay there for very long. It's only about a minute. And then if everything looks good, which the flight control team are trying to determine right now if they're good to go to proceed, they'll execute that fly around burn pretty much immediately.
Yeah, so that shot that we just had inside the cabin, you could actually see Thomas there just underneath Megan and Shane taking these photos as we had indicated. Hopefully we'll get that view back momentarily. But this view...
SpaceX, no response required, but we are going to clear the onboard Dragon Eye 1 and Dragon Eye-like sensor cross-check alerts from your board. They are no longer active.
Those pulses that you see are actually pulses coming from the Draco thrusters on board Dragon in order for Dragon to hold position and maneuver. Like we said, it's going to be performing this fly-around maneuver. Those Draco thrusters we can see activating in order to hold course.
We'll be getting the external camera views from the space station looking out at Dragon, so we should get some pretty good coverage.
Endeavour SpaceX on the big loop. The aft waypoint has been reached.
Sunrise in orbit. We are seeing the Dragon capsule being illuminated by the first glimpses of sunlight, and we should be able to see, when we do get those views from Dragon looking down at the International Space Station, the station itself being illuminated by that light. At this point of the journey, there is a chance that Mark Vanaheim on board the International Space Station is inside the cupola, and we'll be able to capture some images from the Dragon, now getting views from inside Dragon. Here now we're getting the views of the Dragon from the space station. Absolutely beautiful. We're now over the North Pacific Ocean, about 260 statute miles. We just passed over the east coast of Japan.
If you're looking closely, you might see there's a great side-by-side there of the station and Dragon looking back at each other. And that view of Dragon, you can actually see the fins of the Dragon trunk. So if you were wondering what from this angle might have looked like little spikes coming out from the side of Dragon, they look like spikes from this angle, but they're actually fins that are built into the trunk section or the unpressurized section of Crew Dragon.
Right now, the Dragon is about 200 meters from the International Space Station, and we're seeing some of the features now. Cabin lights inside Dragon, as we get some of those feeds as well, still turned off, allowing the photographs to be taken of the space station, part of this photographic survey of the exterior. And of course, we're getting wonderful views from the station looking down at the Dragon capsule. Right below them, 259 statute miles, is the North Pacific Ocean. And that 50-second burn is complete. You can see we're essentially right below the International Space Station. And we're getting some great coverage, both from the space station side using TDRS satellites as well as the Dragon spacecraft. The cupola faces towards the Earth and provides some fantastic views of the planet as they orbit the Earth every 90 minutes. It's also used for some operational reasons, like capturing spacecraft. From inside the cupola, they're able to control the station's robotic arm and get a good view of some of the spacecraft that they're capturing. And chains that we're seeing as we head on a southeasterly course down the Pacific Ocean, heading towards the South Pacific. We'll make our way up and cross over the South America as we continue the fly-around maneuver. This is the Japanese module. You can see on the very right the flag of Japan clearly marked on that module. Right above that, towards the space-facing side, is the logistics module, essentially the storage area. And then the Japanese module has its own airlock to put out experiments. It's too small to fit humans. We have bigger airlocks for that. but this airlock is small enough to fit some of the payloads or experiments, many of which you see on this external platform, each with their own grappling fixture to allow the robotic arm to maneuver it wherever it needs to go. One of the experiments on that external platform is called the OCO3, or the Orbital Carbon Observatory 3. As the space station covers about 85% of the inhabited Earth, that one of the experiments is looking down at the Earth, monitoring carbon all across the planet. We're seeing that external facility as well as the Dragon come into the forward end of the International Space Station, hovering about 200 meters away. Fantastic views all around. This is approximately the position where the Dragon is now, a little more than halfway to the very forward position, but right about that position, they should be getting some very good views of some of those new modules, including and platforms, including Bartolomeo. And this will be the first time that we've had views like this of Bartolomeo as part of an external survey, part of the ever-evolving International Space Station.
So they're a great shot looking top down from the station at Dragon. As what appears to us as the bottom part of Crew Dragon comes into view, you can actually see the side hatch door, which is where the crew entered into the capsule 199 days ago when they launched from Pad 39A at Kennedy Space Center. That hatch has been closed since, and it will reopen tonight after they splash down off the coast of Florida. And that will, once that side hatch opens, that will basically be their first breath of fresh air since launching almost 200 days ago.
I bet they are very excited to see their families once again. It won't be long until they are recovered by the SpaceX recovery teams. They're joint with NASA and as well as some European doctors. It truly is an international effort, even out in the middle of the Gulf, to recover some of these crew. But it won't be long until they're flown back to shore. They'll have planes stationed for them, ready to get them back home to see their respective families.
That is an incredible shot there of the earthly horizon with Crew Dragon rising above.
Bonus points to Cronus.
Somebody at Houston, please give him a gold star.
It's a very slow and calculated maneuver. You can see all along the way, now that we have the view of the Dragon against the blackness of space with the overexposed camera views from the station cameras, you can see that all along the way, the Draco thrusters have been firing to continue to keep Dragon in the intended position. All along the way, we've been seeing essentially the same view, much like we see the moon, right? We always see the same face of the moon anywhere it is in the sky. We are seeing the same face of the forward end of the Dragon, as it is critical that we have that same hatch with the windows facing this way to allow Thomas Pesquet to continue his photographic survey. It's only a few more minutes that we're in this phase, which is the cruise phase between the nadir and the forward positions. Once we meet that forward position on the V bar, the velocity bar, essentially directly in front of the International Space Station, Dragon will automatically execute a 50-second burn, the final fly-around burn, the fourth of four, to move it from the forward end back to the zenith end, effectively doing a full loop around the International Space Station, the last quadrant. From there are 2 departure burns where the Dragon and the crew will break away from this fly-around position about 200 meters from the International Space Station and start exiting the keep-out sphere, the sphere which it's essentially been hugging for this entire maneuver, about a 200-meter circle around the space station. It'll exit the keep-out sphere and then the approach ellipsoid.
That's the first of 5.
It's about 5 minutes from the next departure burn 1, the second in a series of 5 that brings the Crew Dragon Endeavour back home to Earth right before that deorbit burn. It's a very critical burn that'll be that final 16.5-minute burn of the forward Dracos that'll slow Dragon down enough so that it enters the Earth's atmosphere. The Earth's atmosphere doing most of the legwork to slow Dragon down to a reasonable speed. Right now, traveling at about 6...
Seat docking procedure and audio config complete.
We are providing continuous coverage of the Crew 2 return. We just heard the crew announce we are go for deorbit, entry, and landing. The the Crew 2 astronauts confirmed that, and so again, marching towards the 7:33 p.m. Pacific time splashdown, 10:33 p.m. Eastern time. Things continue to go great here, Gary. After the departure phasing burn, we have one more burn left. You mentioned it. It's the 16-minute deorbit burn. And then Dragon, once it enters the Earth's atmosphere, there's going to be a communication blackout period for about 7 minutes. What that means is the crew in Dragon cannot communicate to the ground, and the ground cannot communicate to Dragon. There is some interference from the plasma that's built up around the exterior of Dragon, but at this point, the Dragon vehicle itself is really piloting itself. It knows exactly where it's at and knows exactly where it wants to go. So it will continue to steer the crew towards the primary landing site.
We're getting WB views. The first views of Crew Dragon. Look at that tail. That's the 3,500 degrees.
Yes.
Look for the hot thing, right?
It is the hottest thing in the sky right now. That is such a... It's literally lighting up the
Endeavour,
sky.
SpaceX, come check.
Beautiful, beautiful.
GPS converge. Expect nominal altitude for drogues.
Copy GPS, nominal altitude.
So again, nominal altitude for drogue deployment, that happens at about 18,000 feet. Again, good news after good news, Gary. Things are looking great for Crew 2 return.
I am loving this flight. That altitude expected 1 minute from now.
The main chutes are going to come out. There are 4 of them, and they deploy at about 6,500 feet. Oh, Gary, look at this. This is an excellent view of the drogue parachutes.
There it is. Drogue separation. Main chute deploy. We'll wait for confirmation of 4 healthy mains.
Dragon, visual 4 healthy mains, descent rate nominal.
Great news, 1,000 meters.
We copy 1,000.
You really can't ask for anything better. We got confirmation of, you heard on the loops there, 4 healthy mains. Descent rate is nominal. That means we are expecting splashdown 3 minutes from now. Visually, you can see one of the mains taking slightly longer to inflate. But the teams are tracking that as a nominal inflation rate, and the descent rate is as expected. We do have 4 healthy mains, and we are expecting an on-time splashdown.
600 meters.
We copy 6.
600 meters. This is a better shot of those 4 healthy main parachutes attached to the Dragon spacecraft Endeavour as it continues to descend.
400 meters.
The rate is as expected, 400 meters from splashdown. $300 meters.
200 meters brace.
We copy 200 and bracing.
Standing by for confirmation of splashdown.
SpaceX sees splashdown and mains release.
And now the recovery vessel is that much closer to the Dragon capsule.
Dragon, SpaceX for status update.
Go ahead, SpaceX.
Braking is complete. We're approximately 5 minutes until capsule lift.
Copy.
So you can see the person that is on the capsule itself. That is the rigger. We just got confirmation that the rigging has been completed. Now they are essentially securing the Dragon capsule to all of the rigging hardware that was attached to safely lift it up and out of the water and onto the recovery vessel.
And we're seeing motion of the A-frame now, getting into position. The rigger making the final attachments necessary. If memory serves me right from previous recovery missions, the rigger will jump off the capsule into the water and make his way back into the recovery, or into one of the fast boats after he's done with this work.
Dragon, SpaceX, brace for capsule lift.
Copy, brace.
There he goes, as expected, jumped into the water. His job complete, attaching the all of the connection points to Crew Dragon Endeavour, making sure that it is stable as the A-frame itself, using hydraulic lifts, hoists Crew Dragon Endeavour out of the water onto that circular frame there you see at the base of the ship. That is the Dragon nest.
And Garrett, we are we're slightly ahead of schedule. We were expecting Dragon lift to begin at L plus 38 minutes. It is L plus 30 minutes now. So things continuing to go smoothly as part of Crew 2's return and recovery.
Seem to get better and more efficient with each mission.
Oh, this is
Live
a wonderful
views
footage.
inside Endeavour. Wonderful. Getting all 4 crew members thumbs up. They are feeling good. Live streamed from on the recovery boat. Spectacular.